raindrop technique incorporates calming, energizing, and soothing essential oils with traditional massage practices. When raindrop technique is performed correctly, application of the pure Young Living therapeutic grade essential oils contained in the raindrop technique kit result in energy alignment, stress relief, and the harmonious balance of every system in the body. Raindrop technique is the only therapy that combines the three critical therapeutic elements of essential oils, manual technique, and acupressure point manipulation to provide three powerful therapies in a single treatment. Raindrop technique should be performed 4 times a year for general health and wellness and can be performed monthly or weekly as recommended by your healthcare professional for chronic or sudden illness. The following items should be prepared and available in the room before treatment starts. A massage table or comfortable flat surface for your recipient to lie on. This surface should be high enough that you, the facilitator, can perform the raindrop technique without undue bending or back strain. The surface of the table should be covered with sheets or towels that are expendable or washable, since several of the oils used may stain certain fabrics. If you're working on a vinyl surface, it should be protected, since some of the oils used may react with vinyl. A twin-sized bed sheet or similar-sized towel to help protect the modesty of the receiver. It is important that both the environment and your actions promote modesty and a sense of security for the receiver. A stable tray or table on which to place the essential oils you'll be using during the raindrop technique. Your raindrop technique essential oils kit. We recommend that you perform the raindrop technique in a quiet, semi-darkened area free of distractions. Keeping noise to a minimum will allow your recipient to relax and contribute to their raindrop technique without distraction. The temperature should be cool enough to prevent sweating, but warm enough to be comfortable to your recipient's exposed feet, legs, and back. Both you and your treatment recipient should remove all jewelry, including watches, pendants, chains, rings, bracelets, belts, earrings, and so on. These items produce an electrical energy that may interfere with the technique. Metal eyeglass frames are acceptable. You should make sure that your fingernails are closely clipped and filed to prevent scratching your recipient's skin. Your nails should be free of nail polish or lacquer, since essential oils can remove them. You should recommend that your receiver use the restroom before beginning raindrop technique. Raindrop technique should only be performed if you, as the facilitator, are feeling balanced and focused. If necessary, you should take the time before the treatment to develop the clarity and energy you'll need for transfer to the recipient during the technique. You should inquire whether your receiver has been exposed to chemicals or worked in a toxic environment, since this may result in skin reactions to the oils. Encourage those receiving raindrop technique to wear appropriate attire, clothing that is comfortable and that will allow access to the receiver's feet, legs, and back for application of the oils. Clothing that fully exposes the spine, such as a hospital gown, is ideal, and modesty should be preserved at all times. Before beginning raindrop technique, you should ask for and receive permission to begin from the receiver. During the treatment, maintain physical contact with the receiver at all times, as demonstrated in this video. When the raindrop technique is finished, allow your receiver to relax and recover from the treatment, and remember to offer assistance to them once they are ready to dismount the table. Be prepared to provide your receiver with plenty of pure water for recovery, and don't forget to provide them with detailed post-treatment care. And now, we present this demonstration of the raindrop technique from its developer, the founder of Young Living Essential Oils, D. Gary Young, ND.
You know, we're here to teach and educate. And folks, this is the thing too that you can share with others at home. Yes, you can buy the raindrop video and you can watch it in your home, but you're not going to learn all the deviations that we do on that video. That's what makes coming to class so special for you. Okay? All right. Okay. So, check hands, make sure your client is comfortable and participating in their own healing by putting their hands up on their hips. Grab the ankles. Check alignment for nose, navel, and feet. Are we ready? Okay. Valor. So start with valor, depending on the size of the foot, from 3 drops to 6 drops. Okay. Okay, 6 drops of Valor all over the bottom of the foot. Make sure it's rubbed in really nice. Okay, and then we'll have a practitioner stand at the head with 3 drops on each shoulder and hold. Now our purpose is crossing over, right to right, left to left. If the table is a little low for you, then just take a wide step sideways where you can drop the center of gravity, and you can hold. Make sure you've got full contact, the entire palm of your hand on the bottom of the foot. It does not matter whether your left arm is over the right arm or vice versa. That isn't a criteria. Hold until you can feel that the sensation in both feet equalize. Whether it's a sensation of heat or a shimmering sensation or a pulsing sensation like a heartbeat. Okay, when the feeling normalizes and equalizes, then you have completed this part of the process and you may let go. Come back again with thumbs sliding down the inside of the ankles to the ankle bone, coming together, checking to see if they're equal. Also, you can pull the feet together, tip them up, and look at the heels and see if they're even. And now you're ready to go to the next step. Great. Good job. Okay, oregano is the oil of choice to begin your raindrop for the simple purpose of clearing the receptor sites. Starting with the index finger at the coccyx on your Vitaflex chart, and rolling over and back, and just gently sliding a half a finger width at a time as you slide up the spine area. Come back 3 times in the palm of your hand, picking up more oil on the tips of your fingers, and same thing. Starting at the index finger on the reflex point representing the coccyx, the beginning of the spine, and sliding as you roll, working your way all the way up the spine. Now, if your hand is small and the foot is large and you're not able to put your thumb over the end step, then lay the thumb alongside of the ankle bone, and you can still have the same effect. Start at the pads of the fingers, rolling all the way over till the nails touch, and back. It's most important to maintain full contact on the foot. Do not have your hand up off from the foot. You do not want any space between your hand and the foot. Make sure it's all the way down on there so you've got full contact all the time. Make sure that you're using the tip of your finger, not the side of your finger, right on the tips. Another reason why the nails must be cut short and filed back so you're not creating acupuncture. Now as you come up off the big toe, you've got some oil on your palm of your hand. It's still wet and moist. Don't waste it. Rub it on the foot. You want your client to have all the benefit of that oil that is possible. Switching to the left foot, taking the oils in your right palm, making contact with the ankle, laying your hand on top of the ankle so there's contact with your client at all times. Never break contact. And then again, 3 circles clockwise, starting on the coccyx, third time, always 3 circles in the palm of your hand. And then we go back to the left foot. And keep in mind again your positioning and posturing. So you're always facing your client. You're standing directionally in line with your client. You want the arm that you're applying the oils with to be in alignment with the person's leg and body. And now we go to our second oil, which is thyme. And third application. When you come up the third time, you can take just a moment and just give a little bit more attention to the neck of the toe, which represents the neck and the spine. And with the index finger and the middle finger, just giving a little bit more VitaFlex stimulation to the pad of the big toe, which represents the brain. Everyone needs their brain stimulated a little bit more. Switching over back to the left foot, receiving oils in the right hand. 3 circular clockwise motions. As you take the oil into the tips of the fingers, using your right hand like a palette, your fingertips like a paintbrush. And again, as you come up on your third stroke, stop. The neck of the toe, just give that a little bit more attention. And up off from the pad of the big toe. Wiping any oil excess that might be on your hand onto the bottom of the foot. And we come back and we're ready again to start. Basal oil. Same application as before. Always the fingertips are like brushes. Basal is extremely important because of its antispasmodic properties. So as this goes into the nerve centers, it helps to create a relaxation. Switching to the left leg. Again, remembering oils in the right hand. Your applicator hand will be the left hand for the left leg. And we start again. Now, one of the things that can happen as you're doing VitaFlex on your client, you notice how the foot, for people who fall asleep on the table, just kind of lays over and it starts making it awkward. So you start moving around to try to get to the foot a little more easily, and that's not correct positioning or posturing. So just use the hand that you have the oils in to just hold the foot back up in position, and it brings you right back into alignment. Cypress. And now we're receiving Cypress, and same thing. Same application, same process. Cypress, the sesquiterpenes helps increase the circulation, improves circulatory function. Cypress helps increase and improve the integrity of the capillary wall, and helps in ATP and oxygen uptake. Switching back now to the left side with cypress. Oils in the right hand. Application with the left hand for the left foot. For proper posturing and positioning, it's quite all right to place one foot just a step inside of the table so you're able to move a little freer to create more relaxation in the spine and the hips so you don't fatigue. Okay, going back to the right leg, oils received in the left hand of wintergreen. Second application of wintergreen. Wintergreen contains methyl salicylate, wintergreen for the bone. Third application. Each oil is applied 3 times through the VitaFlex technique. And again, on the third time up, just give a little bit more attention to the neck of the toe. And up to the pad. Because we have so much irregularity in the pituitary, it really is beneficial. Now we switch back to the left leg, receiving oils in the right hand. Clockwise 3 times with the left hand to apply to the left foot. Third application. And back to the right foot. To marjoram. Marjoram for smooth muscle, for relaxation. And third application. So now we're back to the left leg, receiving marjoram in the right hand, making contact with my client, 3 circles clockwise, the oil with the left hand, applying to the left foot. Again, always check and make sure you're in alignment with your client. Your arm that is applying the oils is in alignment with the leg and the body, and that you can watch your client's face to make sure that they're still in a relaxed and comfortable position and feeling. And third time. Coming back to your starting point. Now we're at peppermint, receiving peppermint in my left hand, using my right hand to apply peppermint to the right foot. Checking again to make sure I'm facing my client. My body and my arm are directionally in alignment with the leg and the body. And third and final application with peppermint. And moving to the left leg, receiving peppermint in the right hand, 3 drops, 3 circles clockwise, with the fingers on the left hand applying to the left foot. Second application. Again, as you start applying, watch the face of your client to make sure he or she is still feeling comfortable. There's a state of relaxation and peace on the face, that you're not applying too much pressure, overstimulating. Third and final application of peppermint. Any excess oil that is on your hand, go ahead and rub it off on the feet. Make sure they get the full benefit of it. Again, before taking the next step, bringing the thumbs down the inside of the ankles to the top of the ankle bones and bringing them together and checking to see if the legs are equal in length, which they are. Tip the feet up. Just put your thumbs there and tip them up as far as it'll go. And look at the toes and the pad of the foot, and also at the heel to double check for correct alignment. And we're good. So now we're ready to turn our client over. Okay, Mark. Bringing the sheet down, keeping your client draped well. And now the entire back is exposed. So walking around, looking at your client to just see the shape of the back, the alignment of the spine, how it looks visually, to see if one side is higher or lower, to determine if there's any discrepancies in shoulder height, volumizing in the back, throughout the lung region, the lower back, just to see if you notice any irregularity, and walking around, looking from the feet to the center of the head to see if anything catches your eye that might be abnormal. And then before starting the oil application, just run your hand over the surface of the body about 1 inch above the skin, and just see if you feel any temperature variation coming off from the back. If there's no differential or variation, then go ahead and make full contact and do the same thing, and just slide the hand along as though it was a scanning device, just checking for temperature variation. Use both hands, because you might discover that one hand is more sensitive than the other. Once you have completed the scan, then you're ready to go to the next step. With our client here, the uniformity of the temperature is very, very good. So now we're ready to start. And the same oil that we start with on the foot, first oil that we start on with the foot, is the same oil we start with on the back, which is oregano. So anywhere from 4 to 6 drops of oregano, held about 6 inches above the spine, taking the fingertips, keeping the fingertips as square as possible on the ends, so it's a very uniform sensation for your client, and then just making 6-inch strokes. 1, 2, 3, slide up the spine. 1, 2, 3, slide up the spine. 1, 2, 3, slide. 1, 2, 3, and slide. 1, 2, 3 to the hairline. Coming back, doing that again. 12-inch strokes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And now all the way up. And do that again. And if the oils are not spread thoroughly, then you might need to come back if you have an area where the oil is still setting on top of the skin, and just give it a little bit more feathering. The purpose for this is a dual-fold purpose. 1, to spread the oils evenly along the spine. 2, the light feathering is to stimulate the nerve endings to wake up and open the receptor sites to receive the oil. And then come up and fan off the shoulders and back down, so you're creating a simulated effect of taking the oil off, following the nerves coming out of the spine that go to the internal organs and glands. And now we're ready for time. Same thing, about 6 inches above the spine. 3 to 6 drops is adequate. Your 6-inch strokes, moving up the spine. 12-inch strokes, and moving up the spine. And then full-length strokes. And then again, fanning strokes. Same reason, same purpose, to simulate the flow of the nerves coming out of the spine. The idea and the purpose of the feathering stroke again is to be very, very light, just a feather-like touch to where it almost creates goosebumps. This is when you get the greatest response in waking up the nerve endings. Now basal. Basal is applied on each side of the spine as you go up. And again, if the oil starts to run and you see it, then just flick it back a little bit and spread it out until you've had time to catch it with the feathering. Now the purpose of dripping the basal oil on each side of the spine is because of the next step, that is necessary to have enough oil applied that creates a little lubrication for the next process. And then we come back with the tips of the fingers again, keeping the tips of the fingers square. Right against the spine, right at the edge of the spine where you can feel it. Then putting your hands together, one thumb over top of the other so it keeps your hands almost locked together, then and palms flat on the back so there's no space. Then simply taking your fingertips and curling and pulling toward yourself in a circling motion, and as you come up and back around, you release. So you pull in, back towards you in a circular motion, around and release. Curl in, down, around, and up and release. 3 times and then slide. Curl in, down, around, up, and release. Curl in, pull away, around, up, and release. So what you're wanting to do is pull that deep muscle, that loin muscle, like you're pulling it away from the spine so you can give more circulation to the blood vessels and the nerves in the spine. So again, the tips of the fingers, you're curling and squeezing in. You're not doing this with you're not pulling with your hand, you're not pulling with your arms, you're just squeezing with the tips of your fingers, pulling it down, around in a circle, and release as you come back towards the spine. Curl in, around, and release. Curl in, around, and release. Slide up, and same action. Continue up all the way until your little finger hits the base of the skull. And for people who have stronger necks, you might have to just probe a little bit more there to get in along those cervical vertebrae. To get in right, you want to get in right next to the cervical vertebrae. And just same process. And then keeping contact, walk around your client and the next side. Same thing, same motion. Coming back to the start point, and we begin the second application round. Same procedure, same process. And third procedure, third process. Same direction, same application, same technique. Now, if your client absorbs the oil quickly, and some clients will absorb the oil quicker than others, if the skin starts to appear to be drying and you continue this type of action, you could create a little skin irritation. So don't hesitate to take a little basil and just put a little bit more there. Stroke it along just to create a little bit more lubrication, and then come back to finish your final application. And our final step for this part. Now, as you're going up along the spine, doing these circular motions, pay attention to what your fingertips are feeling to see if there's any lumps or bumps that shouldn't be there, that may need to be addressed in another way. Maybe you've got a knot in a muscle and it requires a little bit more attention. Okay. Now we're ready to go to the next oil. Cypress. Same thing. We're going to take the cypress back and forth across and up the spine. I use cypress relatively liberal because cypress is so beneficial for the stimulation of good circulation, good cell integrity, and so I enjoy the value of cypress. Again, nice 6-inch strokes up the spine to spread your oil along the spine. Longer 12-inch strokes, and just watch your oil. Make sure that it's spreading along the spine and you're getting a nice coverage. And you're getting a nice feel. And for myself, because of being left-handed, it's more comfortable for me to be from this position here. If you're right-handed, you would most likely use your left hand to straddle the spine, your right hand to be the saw. In my case, it's the opposite. So I use my right hand to straddle the spine. And so to identify this, find where the spine is, really the head of the vertebra, and then put your fingers on each side. You're going to be approximately, and very, very close, 1 finger width apart. And then taking your left hand, in my case, and I'm going to take the joint on the base of my little finger, and I'm going to lock it right between the 2 joints on my index and middle finger. So right exactly there, so it doesn't slide back and forth. I don't want my hand sliding back and forth across my fingers. I want it locked in so the fingers move, but not the hand. So I'm going to place that right there, straddling the spine, locking my hand in, and with my left hand, I'm going to push back and forth like a saw. With my right hand straddling the spine, I'm going to pull this direction. Because what we want to accomplish is just a vibration of separating the muscle tissue here and relaxing it to open up the tightness along the spine, and pulling this direction just creates a sensation of elongating the spine. So we can create just a little bit more sensation of hydration to the disc. So this is what we see. Keep the other fingers flat against the back, the palm against the back. No pressure on the palm or the middle or ring finger. Just very lightly let them slide along. You're going to use a firm downward pressure with your left hand that is creating the seesaw motion, and a firm pressure in your fingers that are straddling the spine as you're pulling the hand upwards. Now the trick is, do not use your seesaw hand to push your fingers that are straddling the spine. Use those fingers to pull it, while your hand in the seesaw action is just creating the sideways vibration and motion. Come all the way down the neck, and when you get to the base of the skull or the occiput area, then just let your hand, your seesaw hand, lay down over your fingers and just give it a 1, 2, 3 push, just firm, just to create a little bit of a stretching action. And then we're ready to come back and do it again. Remember, 3 times. So we're going to do this again. Straddle the spine, keeping the fingers and the palm flat against the back. Taking the hand that's going to be the saw, locking the joint, the base joint of the little finger between the first 2 knuckles on the index and middle finger. And then with a saw, where you're just going back and forth, but your hand is not sliding over your fingers, it's locked between them. And then with the hand straddling the spine, and in my case it is my right hand, I'm pulling this way. So it's creating a sensation of elongating the spine, opening up the vertebrae so it can get more circulation. And then again, when you reach the base of the skull, just fold your hand down and just push. 1, 2, 3, which creates just a nice little stretching sensation. Coming back for the last application. Same process, same technique. And we've completed that 3 times. Now the purpose of doing this is just to wake up the muscle along the spine, the nerve centers, the vertebrae, to get them to return to homeostasis in case there's a misalignment. And by doing this and relaxing the muscles, it happens quite frequently. Okay, next step. Wintergreen. So again, wintergreen contains methyl salicylate. Methyl salicylate is very beneficial to bone. So again, 6-inch strokes, taking the methyl salicylate in, spreading it along the spine, so the entire spinal column can get the benefit from it. 12-inch strokes. And 1 to 3 times is generally adequate, but if you put a little bit too much oil on, or the oil's not being absorbed as quickly as you would like, then you can come back and do your fanning strokes just to assimilate that oil following the nerve pathways from the spine, coming out of the spine and going to the various organs in the body. So it's really a nice sensation for your client. And it just gets the oil spread so it doesn't stay in one location. And now, the next step is what is referred to as VitaFlex on the spine, or the thumb walk. That's what I've called it for a long time. Now, if you're a little shorter, you may want to step to the corner of the table at the shoulder of your client. If you have the arms to do it, you can stand at the head and reaching down, putting your thumb tips, again, same places where you had your fingers and you did the straddle, slide, same location, that's where you put your tips of your thumbs, right there. Off center them, just 1 thumb width. Don't put them exactly across from each other, or you're going to bang your knuckles together. And then just start walking up the spine. And again, the purpose of this is just to assimilate, pulling that loin muscle away from the vertebrae to give more freedom of energetic flow and circulation. And all the way up again to the base of the skull or the occiput. Coming back for the second application. Very important, your starting position with your thumb will always be on the pads. And then you roll over, all the way over, until your nails are touching skin, and then come back. And third application. Remember again, as you're going along and you're learning this for the first time, always check the position of your thumbs. Always again look to make sure you're no more than a finger width apart from your thumbs. Tammy, put your finger up there. Put your finger between my thumbs. So keep your thumbs no more than a finger width apart. So you can just check periodically and make sure that you're keeping that spacing. You do not want to have your thumb on top of that vertebra head. Now as you come up the spine into the thoracic vertebrae, you're going to have a little wider spacing here because it's a wider structure. And good. And now marjoram. Be liberal with the marjoram. Sprinkle it on because you want to cover the entire back. And quickly stroke it so it's not running down off onto your sheets. But here you don't stroke the marjoram in until it's dry. You just stroke it enough to where it's not running, but it's still on the surface, because now you're going to come back and do circular, large, deep tissue circular motions. Again, just massaging and working that muscle where it's going to relax. And second application. And third. Aroma C's, similar to the marjoram, be relatively liberal with it, sprinkling it all over the back. Again, same stroke techniques as with marjoram. The purpose is not to stroke it or feather it in until there's no oil left, but just to spread it out because of the next technique. And now, a very nice sensation for your client is simply just sliding back and forth across the spine, which again is very, very soothing, most relaxing, and very rewarding. Second time. Just firm pressure, not really light. It's firm enough that they know that you're there and they can feel it. You want to be moving muscle tissue here. You want the oil going in. Okay, 3 complete times. Up and back, up and back, up and back. 3 times. And now we're ready for peppermint. Aroma C's is a blend that is specific to be an anaspasmodic, a muscle relaxer. So everything that we've been doing here is to help the muscle to relax and increase circulation and open the receptor sites, detoxify the body. Now peppermint, we're going up the spine, because peppermint containing menthol and methone, which menthol is a phenol, methone is a sesquiterpene. These oils are oils that also work on receptor site. Menthol specifically as a detoxifier, but methone and menthol together work as a personifier. It enhances and makes every oil that's gone before it more effective. So again, now we're going to stroke the peppermint until it goes completely in to the spine. The skin absorbs it all the way. So your 6-inch and feather strokes, your 3 times, and then come all the way up. And again, simulating the nerve flow. Okay, and now our last oil application, Valor. You start with Valor, you end with Valor. Valor balances and Valor harmonizes and holds the feeling, the sensation. If the body makes its own natural adjustments, it helps to reestablish homeostasis in the DNA and hold it there. So, you know, Valor, similar to aroma seeds and marjoram, just kind of sprinkle it on. Make sure it's on the back, on the spine very well, on the muscle. And first, I feather it up the spine, so I make sure that I've got good Valor penetration in the spine to hold the memory. We want to lock this good experience, this good memory, into the cell and into the receptor sites along the spine. So we stroke it along the spine first, make sure that we're getting it in there, very nice, good permeation, and then you can come back and just massage it in until it's dry. And then just kind of a nice touch to leave your client with is just taking both hands in the feather stroke and just go up real light, just almost as though you're not touching, and feather off the shoulders, come back again, trailing the index fingers alongside the spine and off. And what this does, again, it just stimulates those nerve endings to just come up and take that oil in, and it creates really a wonderful, wonderful concluding sensation and feeling. Okay, and we're finished with that portion of it, and we're going to have our client turn back over on their back and slide down on the table so they're away from the headrest. Remove the headrest so you can be close to your client, because they've laid there for about 35 or 40 minutes face down, and sometimes this can be a little stuffy for the sinuses. Also, we want them to have time for their blood pressure to come back up, for their blood sugar to balance, to get the oxygen up so they don't just sit up and get lightheaded and maybe even pass out. So taking your fingers in a very nice square position, as we do in the VitaFlex technique, and hooking right behind the skull bone with your little finger right next to the spine, at the occiput, and then just coming towards the ear, right underneath the skull bone on both sides. Putting your thumbs up over and around their ear, so you're literally cradling their head in your hands. And then using your fingers, just the tips of the fingers from the second joint forward, you're just creating this motion here. And now we're going to show you what that looks like and the action it creates. And you see the head, the stomach, the thighs, and the toes. The entire body is moving just from that one little application. And this is referred to as a lymphatic pump. So you're stimulating circulation. You've just spent a great deal of time working the spine, increasing blood, vascular, and neurological stimulation and function and relaxation to the muscle. And now this just enhances the blood flow to all the muscles that you've just addressed and gets their body eliminating as well. So just do that for 60 seconds, and then you can let your client relax and breathe, sleep, whatever they wish to do. Make sure before they get off the table they turn over on their side and set up very slowly so not to stretch the back. Okay, Tammy, you want to hold the sheet? Yeah. Okay. Mark, you show them how a cow gets up. Not quite. Okay. And there's your raindrop. And again, I just thank you all for being who you are and what you've brought, your beautiful spirit, and to reassure me and give me the desire to teach again.